Hey everyone, Gary Simon of Coursettra.com. Let me show you the project that we're going to create real quickly, which is based on Angular 4 in Firebase.
All right, and so here it is at localhost 4200. I've ran it with ngserve. And this is the very extremely simple app that we're going to make in this tutorial. So let's, I'm going to click on anonymous login. And so that's using the anonymous login method of Firebase. So it just kind of automatically logs you in without any type of credentials. And as we can see, we already have two little post notes here. I'm going to add another one just for the heck of it. What else do I like to do? Yeah, I have a family too. Okay. Hit enter. There you go. Automatically posting it. Now, if I were to get up another browser window and post from there, it would automatically pull right here as well. So there's no refreshing or anything like that involved.
All right, so very simple app. And also something to take note, if you already have experience with Angular 2 in integrating Firebase, it's the same exact process for Angular 4. It will still work. The only reason I'm doing this tutorial is because I want to capitalize on the new search traffic, because people are going to be typing very shortly Angular 4 plus, Firebase. So I also changed it up slightly just to give you, a different look at it in terms of the project. So I'm going to be linking that older tutorial here in the YouTube description, as well as another tutorial that will show you how to upgrade an Angular 2 project to Angular 4 if you're watching this at a point in time where the Angular command line interface doesn't by default install an Angular 4 project. All right, so if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that damn subscribe button down there, and also check out Coursettra.com. All right, let's get started.
All right, so here in the console, right now it is March 19th, and the Angular 4 official release hasn't released yet. It's supposed to be in 3 days on the 22nd. If you're watching this before it's released, and also before the Angular command line interface hasn't yet integrated Angular 4 to start a new project, then you're going to have to do a couple extra steps in order to upgrade an Angular 2 project to an Angular 4. So that's the boat that I'm in. I wanted to get this out as fast as possible, so I didn't wait for the command line interface tool to integrate Angular 4. So if you are watching this, sometimes after it's released here in a few days, and the Angular CLI does start an Angular 4 project, then just go ahead and run this command, ng new, and I'll just name this here what we do. And by the way, you're gonna have to run this no matter what, even if it is just going to install an Angular 2 project. The difference comes in a little bit later here. So I'm gonna pause this until it's complete. All right, so it is done. I'm going to CD into it. All right. And real quickly, how do you know if you installed an Angular 2 or an Angular 4 project? Well, we have to open it up in a code editor. So mine's going to be in Visual Studio Code here. And we're in the current project folder. We're going to click on package.json. And we can see for all of our dependencies, we could see that it's 2.3.1, 2.3.1, etc. So this is an Angular 2 project. Yours will be 4.0. whatever, if it is truly an Angular 4 project. So if it does say 2 here for you, then we want to do a couple things just to upgrade it to an Angular 4 project. So to show you, go ahead to your browser, and also this is going to be linked here in the description of this YouTube video so you can quickly access it. So I already did a tutorial on Angular 4 if-else conditionals, but I show you how to start an Angular 4 project and also upgrade it. So you can head on over to that, and if you're on Mac, then we need to run this command right here. So just copy all this, or if you're on Windows, which I am, we're going to copy all this here. All right. Then we're going to go back to our console. We're going to paste it in, hit enter, and it's just going to upgrade these to the 4.0 version. Once it's done, come back here. We need to upgrade TypeScript as well. So let me clear this, paste it, and momentarily it will upgrade it And that's all that's required in order to get an Angular 4 project running at the present time. All right, so after that's done, we also, and by the way, if you prefer reading and a written tutorial, you can follow along with the written tutorial for this course, and that's available right here. And so I'm just kind of following along with this written tutorial as I do the video. So basically what we need to do is up here first to set up the Firebase project. Now, I already do have an Angular 2 based Firebase tutorial where I have all of these. Let me find it if it's, yeah, I have all the steps with screenshots in terms of what you need to do to set up a Firebase account, and it's all still exactly the same, at least, you know, as it stands right now. So all you have to do is go to the Firebase console, and that's right here. You click on create a new project, specify a title for the project name, and then hit create project. I'm not going to do that because I already did it and have it set up already. But then after you do that, all it's going to do is present you with this screen. You click on add Firebase to your web app. And after that, it's going to show you this screen with your configuration. All you need to do is save these 5 properties right here and save them in something like Notepad. Then you want to click on the authentication tab on the sidebar and then click on the sign in tab up here. And we're going to use anonymous. So you want to click on enable anonymous login. When you hover over it, you'll be able to have that option to do that, to toggle it on. For this particular tutorial right here, I have it using Facebook. We're not going to use it for this one. You can use it if you want. There's just be slight differences in the configuration later on down the road for this app we're creating. So if you want to use and stick with what I'm doing, which is anonymous, then skip this screen, this screen, this screen, this screen, up until you get to here. So the next step here is to click on database and then the rules tab and paste in this right here. So you're going to replace this with this, and then you'll be able to save it, and we'll be ready to go. All right. So sorry, I'm kind of jumping around different tutorials here, but I don't like recovering the same thing. So I'll be linking these tutorials and everything you need. All right. So now we have to install with npm Angular Fire 2 and Firebase. So npm install Angular Fire 2 Firebase and then save it to the package.json. All right. And once that is ran, let's go ahead and run ngserve. We'll set up a dev server at localhost 4200. You go there in your browser, and there it is. All right, so now let's go to our code editor, and in source app, and we want to go to app.module.ts, and we have to import what we just installed with npm, which is the Angular Fire. So to do that, let's go ahead and I'm just going to paste in real quick, just in the middle here, import Angular Fire module from Angular Fire 2. Okay, and then, by the way, I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm doing this on my other monitor where I have that written tutorial up, which looks like this. And we want to copy and paste this right here to create a constant of Firebase config, which will have our API key domain. And this is all the stuff that you saved from the Firebase console when you clicked on the add Firebase to a web app. Okay, so make sure you put that in. I'm not going to do it just, I mean, it's no big deal if you see my credentials, but I don't know. I just don't want to. Okay, so after that, save it. And then the next step is to go to app.component.ts right above it. And this is where the core of the work will begin. So actually, no, it won't. We need one more thing. I always forget this step. We need to add to our imports this right here, which is Angular Fire module.initialize app. And then you pass in the Firebase config property right there. Now you're ready to save. Then you're ready to go to app.component.ts. So in here, we have one import. I'll just type this out here. So we're going to import Angular Fire auth providers, auth methods, and we'll be using each one of these, and then Firebase list observable. And this is what allows us to take all of the information from Firebase database, whatever we end up storing there, and using it in our own app from, and then Angular Fire 2. All right. So then let's go ahead and save that. We can ignore the component decorator. We're not going to be working within this at all. Next step is to come here and get rid of title. And now we have to create 3 different properties. So the first property is items and Firebase list observable, which we imported above with a type of any. We also want to use name. This is what's going to allow us to check if the user is logged in or not. And then also message val, and we'll make this a string type and make it nothing and empty at first. So this will be bound to our text field in the view. Next, we're going to create a constructor and pass into it a public AF for Angular Fire and then Angular Fire, which we imported right there. All right, so now we can use it within our constructor. So this .items, again, that's referenced right here, equals AF database list. So it's a list method in messages, and this is where we're going to be saving our stuff momentarily, whatever the user enters. And then we're also going to pass along a query of limit to last 50. So what this basically means is we're going to limit the amount of messages as it returns to 50. Very simple. All right, and then one more, this.af.auth, we're going to subscribe to auth, and inside this.name equals auth. Oops, nope, sorry about that. If auth exists, or in other words, if the user is logged in, then this.name equals auth. All right, so you'll see how this kind of comes into play momentarily once we get to our view. So after the constructor right here, we're going to create 2 different methods. First is a login method, and this will be called when a user clicks login. So this.af.auth.login method. Provider, auth providers, we're using anonymous. And then method, auth methods is also anonymous. All right, so where do I get this information from? Well, if you type in Angular Fire 2 in Google or Angular Fire 2 authentication, you come to this page right here, and we could see this method for anonymous. These are the details you use right here. If you're using the type of the login method of email and password, use this right there. And then social login redirect, you have Twitter. There's also one for Facebook. There's GitHub as well. So I just thought I'd throw that in there in case you're confused. All right, and then our next and final method is going to be send, and this is what's going to be called when a user clicks or hits the enter key and after they type something into a text field. All right, now inside of it, this.items, remember we defined this property up here, and there's a push method on it, message, and we'll say DESC. So that's defined right here. So this is going to be the value of whatever it is they type in that text field. So we're pushing it to Firebase, and it will save this, called in a, you wouldn't really call it a variable, or a property called message, and message will be based on this description right here. And the description is basically, what they do. That's the idea of it, at least. All right, so this.msgval equals empty. So we're just going to clear the text field after they hit enter, and we'll save. That is it. Very, very simple stuff here. So you can, of course, expand this for more functionality if you wish with other methods, like if you wanted people to be able to delete stuff and all that. So you would just use this.items, and then you would do a search for Angular Fire 2 methods to find out the other stuff that you could do to manipulate your Angular Fire stuff. Well, we're not done yet, so let's go to the app.component.html. For the template, I'm simply going to paste this in from the written tutorial, and I'll do a real quick look at, what exactly, or description of what's happening here. So the first element here, we have our button click event. And when somebody clicks this event, login will be called, which is defined right here. And then we also have an ngIf. So if the name does not exist, or in other words, right here, if this has not been called, then we're going to show the anonymous login button, this whole element right here. Very simple. And then we have an input type of text, and we have also another ngIf if name. So this will only show if they are logged in, and that's the text field. We have placeholder, and then we also have event binding right here based on a key up enter. So if somebody clicks the enter key, it's going to call send and send in the event target value, which is how you get the currently entered text of the input. And then we're also using to-a binding on ng model for message val. So whenever we update this inside of the component class, it will update here and it will send that. So that's how we're able to clear it. And then finally, we also have a paragraph here, and we're using ng4 to iterate through let item of items. This is coming from right here, and also in the constructor, which loads when the app loads. So this items, we're going to grab all of it from messages, and we use the async pipe. And then I'm just putting in like a quick SVG graphic right here. If you want to know where to get that, by the way, I just went here to iconfinder.com, typed in pin, or you could type in thumbtack or something. I have it free and no link back required. And I used one of these, I believe. Either way, once you do find one, also one that has a SVG version. This is just PNG only. Where's one with SVG? We'll say this. Click on it. Click on SVG. It'll download it. And then just rename it to, what I have it save this here, as pin. And you want to save it in the folder that's right here, assets, and then images. I'll go ahead and create a new folder real quickly. And I'll put my version of the SVG in. Here we go. Pin.svg. And there we go. And then finally, we're using interpolation on item.message. And that's the name, remember, that we save each of these messages to. And that's it for the HTML. Additionally, we have some CSS here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in a few rule sets from the written tutorial. I'm not really going to describe it. It's just 4 different rule sets. Just kind of structuring the basic layout. Nothing special is happening here. Just using a flexbox layout here for the details container. And then the child elements are the paragraph elements. All right, all very standard stuff. We'll save that. There's also a global style sheet located right here in source. I'm going to paste in that as well. And it's just styling, just, overall stuff, very general, simple to understand. Also, we're going to go to index.html. And I want to paste in real quickly right here these 2 lines. So the first one is linking to this foundation hosted FlexGrid minimized version of Foundation 6. And that's just real quickly to help me structure that basic layout. And then also Google APIs for the font family Railway. So we'll save that as well. And after you've ran ng serve, go to your localhost 4200. And as you can see, we just have this simple anonymous login button. We click it. And now it shows up. What is it that you do? Now, currently I have nothing entered into the database. Let me drag over real quickly that Firebase console, and we'll see that it's currently empty. So let's go ahead and enter something. What is it that I do? I'm a full stack dev at GarySimon.com. Hit enter. There we go. Immediately this updates. Let me split this a little bit just so I can show you. Bring this guy over here, down just a bit and over. So now I'm also into lifting. Har har. Look at that. Awesome stuff. All right, so if you guys want to visit the example, which I've also linked in the description, you can play around with this demo as well. And that is it.
All right, so hopefully you found that pretty helpful. Obviously, it's a very simple example, but really there's a lot there because it helps you get up and running real quickly, and it would be up to you then to add more features and functionality if you wish. So once again, it's the same process as Angular 2 when it comes to integrating Firebase and Angular 4. There's not many major breaking changes with Angular 4, fortunately. All right, so make sure you subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't yet, and check out CoreCetro.com. See you later.